Hello, and welcome back to another inspiring episode of the Achieving Unity Success Formula. It's our weekly podcast where we turn chaos into connection and purpose into action. I'm your host. I am Mark Intrican, founder of the Achieving Unity Success Formula, is dedicated to making life better by encouraging, inspiring, and including others. Today, we welcome a remarkable leader whose work has touched audiences across and around the globe. Scott Schilling, known as the Authentic Connector, with over 4 decades of experience in coaching, sales, marketing, and training, Scott brings both wisdom and heart into a mission of helping people grow, succeed, and thrive. Scott's purpose is simple, yet powerful: to inspire and empower others to live their life's purpose with spirit, with joy, and with love. But first, before we get engaged in this insightful discussion, let me quickly introduce my company, Reality Focused Dynamics, creating solutions one reality at a time. This is where it all began. As you see on the first slide, my gift to you. It is our Achieving Unity Guide. It is where we see the benefits of the Achieving Unity Success Formula and ending things such as frustration, ending that disconnection, ending any sorts of prejudice in ways that we can work together because we are one. In so many ways, the basis of where we begin is the same, but where we grow forward, we talk about it through our cultures, what we learn, how we can benefit instead of going to the negative. Turn it to the positive, make everyone's life better, one reality at a time. Achieving Unity Success Formula weekly podcast, as I mentioned, this is number 52. This is special. This is our 52nd broadcast. We've been doing this for a full year as of today. So thank you all for coming. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to Scott for being here for our 1 year anniversary. It's excellent to have the people like Scott here and so many others. We are here every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Love for you to come. Please put it on your calendar. Go out to our website, www.markintrican.com. Go to the podcast, register, put it on your calendar. We'd love to see you each and every week. Reality Focused Dynamics. As you can see on the logo on our slide, it truly represents the core of what we do and how we stand firm. Notice how focused is right at the core. That is because everything that we explore, from reality-focused dynamics to success-focused solutions, it all centers around clear, intentional direction. In fact, the idea of focus is so core to us that it is even reflected in our business phone number, 303-362-8733, which spells focused on your phone pad. 303 focused. Get focused. Get in contact with us. We believe that by being truly focused on what matters, we can create meaningful change and achieve lasting unity. As you can see, the reality-focused dynamics, success-focused solutions, we have proven strategies, proven that they turn conflict into lasting harmony. This harmony comes in at work, at home, and in every relationship that matters. Are you ever frustrated by tension or arguments? Our 7-step roadmap gives you the tools to move from conflict to collaboration quickly and confidently. Have you ever had a craving for stronger trust, stronger connection? You can discover the communication tactics that build that respect, repair those relationships, and unify teams and families alike. We help you transform conflict into connection, together achieving unity. Unity inspires us in our homes. It shapes society. It transforms workplaces. We help you turn that frustration into understanding. Have you ever heard anybody say, "What the frustration?" Okay, they may not use the word frustration when they said that, but what we do is we help you find value in those actions instead of reacting in that anger or that frustration. We show that anger holds no value. Anger, ANGER, is nothing more than actions not gaining effective results. Anger, actions not gaining effective results. Who have you ever been proud of that's been angry? Who's had anger? It's not something to be proud of. It's not a justifying action. Anger, actions not gaining effective results. Yes, life happens everywhere, happens in every relationship, from personal to professional, from parenting time to partnerships. It happens in the boardroom, happens in the bedroom, in every room in between. What we do is we show you how to embrace those challenges and encourage a more inspired and inclusive future. That's EII, encouragement, inspiring, and including others. You can read more about that on my website. You can look at our blog, see more about the articles that I've written about that. Because we're looking at one vision, one goal, achieving unity in every area of life. What's our call to action? Let's ditch the drama. Excuse me. Let's ditch that drama. Let's get stuff done. We see people all the time finding something wrong. Let's get beyond that. Let's find success. We'll show you how to turn your life from what may seem sometimes to be a dumpster fire into a well-oiled machine. Achieving unity, the path to stronger relationships, inspired leadership, and lasting change. Coaching, consulting, courses, and keynote speeches. Contact us today. So you saw earlier, www.markhentricken.com, or you can also reach us at www.realityfocus.com. And as we talked about, if you're ready to get focused, call me, 303-FOCUS, 303-362-8733. I'm looking forward to talking with you. Okay, and our next podcast coming on, again, we have a wonderful podcast guest today. Scott's excellent. We have more coming. Mila John Johansson. Have you ever thought about writing a book? Does your life have a story? On 9/17, Mila will be here about self-publishing is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Works for anyone at any age. Tell your story. Tell it in the book. The next week, September 24th, Michael Davis will be here. Storytelling Power Trio. Talk about how storytelling is better. We talk about communication, collaboration, family, socially, at the office. Being able to tell those stories can get people to listen better. October 1st, Wendy Vaughn, heart-centered coaching. I have a coach. A lot of us have coaches. It's all about being and listening to a heart-centered coach. What heart-centered coaching is all about. Come back. Let's listen to Wendy. Dr. Yang comes on October 8th. She's going to talk about foods that impact our attitudes, impact our behavior. What we eat can impact our own attitudes, how we talk, how we feel. Come back on October 8th. Let's talk to Dr. Yang. Then, on October 15th, Timothy Stutz. He will be here helping moms and dads raise brilliant, healthy, happy, and empowered children. Now, these are children that are well-minded children. These are children that listen, but they're also empowered. And that's how they become more empowered and better children, better adults, because of that ability to be that brilliant, healthy, happy, and empowered child starting off. So again, back every week, every Wednesday, 1 o'clock Pacific time, 4 o'clock Eastern time. Enjoy seeing you here. But today, I was just talking to him again before the show. I'm just so impressed. A person that is creating authentic relationships that matter. That authenticism and what's so important. Scott Schilling is an international speaker, an executive coach, the best-selling author, committed to helping people create authentic connections that drive success. With over 35 years of experience in sales, training, and communication, Scott blends proven strategies with heartfelt guidance to deliver clarity, transformation, and lasting results. Through his keynotes, his coaching, mentorship, Scott equips audiences with tools to elevate their own performance, helps them embrace those opportunities and to thrive with confidence. You have the ability, he'll help you thrive with that confidence. Scott's approach combines practical solutions with inspiration, reminding us that success begins with showing up and building relationships that truly matter, and they can, each and every one of them. Scott's mission is to inspire and empower others to live their life's purpose with that spirit, that love, that joy, while creating impact that strengthens both business and community. If you look over to the right under his picture, you'll see his URL, the domain, his domain, scottschilling.com. Please go out there at the end of the show. Go out there and check and see what Scott has on the website. But if you don't mind, right now, please help me welcome Scott Schilling. Scott, how are you today?
I'm fabulous. I'm honored to be here. Thanks for the opportunity.
Scott, I am so excited you're here. You have so many things to talk about. You have such tremendous experience. It's amazing just reading about you and what you do and how you're known. And I think you're pretty much known as the authentic connector. That's a pretty powerful title. Maybe we can
Well,
start. You can introduce yourself a little bit. That's what you're going to do. Take a couple
sure.
minutes to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about how'd you earn that title?
Well, the reality is everything is about relationships in life, and the chances of somebody needing exactly what I do when we first meet is maybe 5%. The chances of needing to know something I know or someone I know is probably 95%. So I encourage people to become an asset to everyone they meet. ASSET is a five-letter acronym for a spontaneous servant every time. Become a spontaneous servant every time, the rest takes care of itself. Uh, People make relationships and getting to know people way too hard. It's really only four words: identify problem, provide solution, right? It's about connecting with people. And so the authentic connector came from the fact that I have as many conversations as I can possibly have and learn as much about people as I can. And it's not unusual that a day or two later, somebody will say, "Hey, do you know somebody that?" And, just a couple of days earlier, I've met somebody that does that. And I'll say, let me check with them and get their permission, see if they're taking new clients or they'd like to meet. And if they do, I'll do the cross introduction. So authentic connection is really about I can't be you, you can't be me, we can't be each other. We need to be the best us we can be. That's where the authenticity comes in. And it's just a desire to understand we're all interconnected on this planet. There's 8.5 billion people, and we're a whole lot closer to more people than we ever dreamed of. And quite frankly, I think if we treat people with respect, honor, and dignity, we're going to get even closer.
Oh, I love those words. Please continue.
Well,
That's
that's really my platform is to encourage people to return respect, honor, and dignity to the planet. Respect is how someone treats you. Honor is how they lift you up. When those two things are done appropriately between the two parties, both experience dignity. So if we can increase the respect for one of another, it doesn't mean we have to agree with one another on everything, but we should
right.
respect one another for having the opinions we have and listen to each other. Um, I think we came to a point where things got pretty diametrically opposed, right? They were pretty, "Well, I don't like you. Well, I hate you." Where do you go from there? It's pretty tough, right? But if there's a little ground in between, typically you can come back together. And again, I don't have to agree with everybody, but I should respect the fact that they have the right to their position, just as I have the right to my position. We should honor each other for those positions and do it again with grace, with dignity, with
So true.
respect. And when we do that, we just live just a nicer life. Why would you not want a
It,
nice life?
Scott, it is. And it's amazing how people, all of us, and when I say people in that statement, I'm talking about me years ago. I can remember back when I was in high school. When I was in college, I had that same kind of attitude that you're talking about. It's it's amazing how we are taught that early, and it takes people like you to help come out and let us see that there is another way, that that respect means a lot, a little bit of honesty and that truthfulness. But do you see also where there's a lot of people that said, well, almost like your example, I don't like you and I hate you. People, it gets into that. But why people don't want to respect each other? What did we learn, or how did we learn it? There's so much there. What about our culture in that process? Have you been part of that or seen part of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, some of us more mature individuals, that's code word for older. We were brought up with those things. We were taught to respect our elders. I mean, it was part of the way we were brought up. And unfortunately, I think social norms changed and there was less of that done. And you do what you focus on. You said it, right? Focused. I mean, if you're focused on living for yourself, you're going to live for yourself. If you're focused for living for the community, you're going to live for the community. And I think, we went away from some of the common values. Um, I mean, I'm very on my website and in my talks, I'll talk about my five core values: faith, integrity, honesty, courage, and stewardship. And you live to whatever, nobody has to have mine, but I'm just saying there is something that makes up everybody. And if you have those core values as your North Star, now it's easier to do that. And I think we started changing a lot of the things as we allowed kids to grow up. I mean, I remember a conversation, and this is 30 some years ago, where I said, I love the fact that my kids will grow up in the South saying yes, sir, and no, ma'am. And I had somebody say, there's not a chance we're going to do that with our kids. And I said, why would you not want that? Just simple politeness. I was telling this story to somebody last week. I said, when I went off to school, I remember distinctly asking my mom if she could buy the book by Miss Manners. Yes, there was actually a person called Miss Manners. And it was I think a 500-page book on
Wow.
etiquette and manners. And I said, I think I'm going to, living on my own for the first time, I think I'm going to need a reference guide, right? And something to go to. And I share that story every once in a while, and people go, "What? There was a miss?" And then some people will go, "Well, yeah, there was Dear Abby too, and she used to give us guidance." And that's just it. We used to have guidance on proper etiquette and manners, and we have, unfortunately, I think, softened a lot of those things that are just they're etiquette. And they've been etiquette for years and years and years. But when you stop focusing on it, when you stop teaching it, when you stop encouraging it, people will take the path of least resistance. You know,
Mhm.
if
Well,
if you know, so they can do what they want to do.
That's one of the things that I work with and I talk to quite a few people about is when we have the book, since you're talking about Miss Manners and it's 500 pages, did you say? It's a large book. And I think that people, and I'm probably one of them, the rebellion that came out in the 60s and the 70s, because some of the manners that we have right now, sometimes they go a little bit too far, in my opinion. But I tell people that 55-mile-an-hour speed limit is there for a reason, even though some reasons is only because there are too many out there that can't drive over 55 safely. That doesn't mean that you can't, that I can't, that certain people can't, but overall, there's too many people that would not be able to drive 55 miles an hour or 60 or 70 or 30 or 25 in this situation and be in control. And it is a shame that we are held back at times because of someone else's inability, good, bad, or indifferent. But the bottom line is those rules and regulations are there in the benefit of all.
Mhm.
Yes, it's a shame because there's a lot of people that could easily drive 60 or 65 in that area and still be responsive, but they must, by law, have to follow that speed because, again, it's good for the majority, and that's the 80+% of people. And that's some of the things that we have, though, that I'm going to touch back on with those 500 pages of manners. Some of the manners and some of the regulations that we see, had a wonderful attorney here just a couple weeks ago that talked about regulations, or which is how we operate with the law. And that's when the law is written, regulations are how we operate it. We don't know about the benefit of those regulations. And even at that, some go too far, don't they? And some of our laws, and then our legislators don't follow some of them. They have ways to get around them. So does that that's a long way to get back to my question, but do you feel that has something to do with why we are becoming so strained with some of those regulations, some of those manners that whoever told us isn't following those manners themselves? Who are they to tell me that? What do you think
Well, I
about
think
that, Scott?
that's that's the hitting the nail on the head right there. You can't go through, there used to be the old saying, if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. You know,
You go.
the point is when there are blatant lies being broadcast and people are saying this isn't a lie, this is my interpretation. No, it's a lie. I mean, there's a line. You've got to, you know, I think every manner, every rule, every law is designed for the masses. It's not designed for the exceptional and it's not designed for the less than exceptional. It's designed for the bell curve, right? It's designed to give a uh, guidance on what would be the appropriate thing to do in the right place.
And you
Nobody
talk about the
ever.
bell curve. It's where the bell curve starts here, goes
Right,
up, goes to its peak, comes back down, and goes to here. They have the two extremes, right? And you have the
right,
bell curve where the people fit
where
in, right?
most of the people are. And I think that you can look at certain laws that way. You can look, but I mean, the reality is that I think far too many people have taken the side of being out of integrity and doing things that are fairly evident to be out of integrity and saying, well, I'm within integrity here. In other words, they're trying to change the perception of integrity, and integrity comes from the word integer, one, wholeness,
Wow.
pretty much how you do
Did not know
anything is
that.
how you
Thank you.
do everything, right? It's integral to the process. And you can't say, I mean, this is the thing that people have challenges over. I mean, if you want to talk about a speed limit, if if everybody is going 60 miles an hour and the speed limit is 55 and everybody is making the same exception and those who are enforcing it have the same exception, kind of so be it. I mean, it's break it's breaking the law, but again, this is within where they've chosen to enforce it. It's when the person comes ripping past you at 80 where it's the difference, it's the outlier to it all, right? But if you know, if everybody's going 80 all the time, then it would probably make sense to go and work to have the speed limit changed. I mean, let's try to put
Good
people
point.
within
Mhm.
the rules and within the law. I mean, we have to have rules. We have to have different things. Manners is a by choice anyway. As an example, I just wanted to do what was more socially acceptable because I wanted to do the right thing. And so, do we have to say no, sir, yes, ma'am, thank you, you're welcome? No, you don't have to do any of that. But it's probably more socially accepted and it's a nice thing to do, right? It's interesting. I was talking to somebody about spirituality earlier, and I said, "It is not my job to convince you to believe what I believe. I do believe it is my job to encourage you to have a belief, and it is my job to be a living example of my belief. And if because you see that living example, you want to learn about my belief, fine, then we can have a conversation. But it's not my job to get you to believe what I believe. It's my job to, again, live it, be that living example." And I think that's, you know, if we did more of that, if we had more conversation, actually, when we were really at the diametrically opposed points, I came up with a question for my coaching clients. Again, don't have to agree with the position or not, but I suggested just ask the question, is it possible? Is what they're saying possible? Is why they're saying it possible? And if you can, again, do a little critical thinking and a little rational thinking, I'm still probably not going to believe what they believe, but at least I can understand why they believe it, right? We're trying to find common ground. The reality is we should strive for common ground. We should strive to be good people doing good things for good reasons. I don't think we've been inherently put here to be spoiled or childish or, just for ourselves. I think we're here to contribute to the greater good.
And you mentioned things such as the manners, sometimes I call them ethics.
Mhm.
It's found through many surveys, and I know we can touch on how surveys are written, but people that say thank you more and appreciate more, people that can say I'm sorry, the majority that can say yes or no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, without being gender biased, but just showing that respect to others. Once we start doing that, we actually have more value within ourselves, because when we produce more value to others, others share more value back to us. And then we become a little bit more, have a little more pride within ourselves, have a little more excitement about who we are than we may have had previously, right?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, I think many years ago, I made the decision I just wanted to be a nice person. That might sound weird, but as soon as you make a decision comes from the word decidere, to cut off. You cut off any other possibility once you decide. So it was like, well, if I want to be a nice person, what do nice people do? They say thank you. They say please. They open doors for people. They allow somebody to pass through first before them. There are just certain things that endear you. We said it, I don't know how many times before we went on air. Smile, right? As soon as you smile, you've positively impacted two lives, yours and theirs. And so the the fact is nobody wants to, you know, be staring at a grump head all day. Have some fun, enjoy life, do all these different things. But once we make decisions, if we make a decision that we want to support this situation or not, or we think certain things are right or not, right? We cut off the possibility of the other thing happening. We start to take action and move toward it. And I think that that's one of the things I think the whole topic of the show, we need to come back together as a people and say, hey, we're all on this planet together. How do we make this the best for as many people as we possibly can?
Mhm.
And do it within proper constraints and all the other things, but that's where the respect, honor, and dignity comes in. Again, I don't have to believe the same thing you believe, but I should at least respect you. At the same time, you should at least respect me.
And what does that hurt? I mean, Scott, I think you're right on track. I'm truly appreciating what you were saying because whatever physical attraction one has for another, if they have things such as if they wear earrings or belly rings or nose rings or ear, just any kind of ring like that, that we may or may not appreciate, tattoos, if they have one, two, 10, have it's not our life. So if that's the way they want to live their life, how are they hurting me? Unless I've created a self-judgment of some kind. And where do I get this power to judge others? But if someone wants to wear lots of earrings, why not? If they want lots of tattoos, why not? Why is someone with a lighter skin or darker skin rated any differently than another one? As I tell people so much, Scott, that there's only four blood types out there around the world, everywhere you go. If you go to Antarctica, you go to Russia, go to China,
Yep.
and I know I say this very often, there's type A, type B, type AB, and type O. Wherever you go, doesn't matter who your parents were, where your parents grew up, doesn't matter if your ancestry is from whatever country, there's a positive and negative each one of them. O positive, of course, is the universal donor, but we are all the same. We have that same blood through our heart coming the same.
Hmm.
So we are the same, even though we may have chosen some different things, back to the fun side, or tattoos or earrings or anything physical on our body, the watch that we wear, whatever it might be, the color that we wear, we are still the same. And the way we judge others is nothing but finding something wrong, isn't it?
Well, it can be, certainly. I don't know that it always is. I mean, I, my wife and I have this conversation about tattoos and different things. It's something we choose not to do.
But
At the
it's
same
okay
time,
if others.
well, that's exactly it. That's where I was going with it. If somebody else chooses to do it, I think one of the things that has happened in our world at this point is there are people who choose, and let's use tattoos. There are people that choose to tattoo themselves. Great, knock yourself out. There are people who choose not to. Great, don't. But it's just as it's not right for somebody who chooses not to have two tattoos to judge those who do, it's also not right for those who do have the tattoos to judge those who don't, right? I mean, it's
Very well said.
just because this is the look that you want and the knock yourself out. God bless you. Now, if I don't respond to it the way you want me to, that's not my issue either. I have that choice as well, right? And it's just you're responding to me because I don't have them, right? You're choosing to respond towards me. I'm choosing to respond towards you. Your response to me is what it is. My response to you is what it is. I think a big part of it's trying to impart my position or my philosophy on somebody. That's not my job. My job is to live my philosophy. It's to live my life. Again, whether it be
And you're not harming others. Wouldn't you do that either, right?
no, no, that's my point is be a representative of your beliefs. And if I want to learn about your beliefs and adopt your beliefs, cool. And if I choose not to, that should also be cool. I think we get into problems if we look worldwide, quite frankly. Why are people fighting? I believe this, you believe this. No, you need to believe what I believe. No, you need to believe what I believe. That's what creates the challenge is we can't it's not anybody's job to impart their belief on anybody else. They should live their belief, they should be an example of it, they should do whatever. But that's where we get into the no, this is my belief, this is my belief, and that's where we get into this. And I
And
think
taking it to the next step, sorry to interrupt you here, but like you're saying, this is my belief, and everyone else needs to believe my way.
right.
And that creates the struggle, challenge,
That's
right?
that's where the challenge comes in. If you really oversimplify a lot of the things that are going on in the world these days, is I believe this, so you need to believe that. No, I'm an individual. I choose to believe this. It's not necessarily what people believe that is the challenge. It's the working to impart it and force somebody else to believe the same thing when they choose
I
not. That's where the rub comes.
I see what you're saying. That sounds true. And like I talked about the tattoos and earrings, I've seen some beautiful earrings out there, some beautiful artwork. Some of the tattoos, I mean, I am amazed by them. But I still don't want one. I, but the
Right.
artist that put that tattoo on and the meaning that a lot of that means to the person that's wearing that tattoo it wows me. It is impressive, but I still don't want one. I
Well,
mean,
and
and that's okay.
I'll give you just a simple side. Let's say that you're very holistic in your approach to your body and medicine and how the body works, and you understand the only thing that heals the body is the body, right? That it's an amazing mechanism. Well, if you are really devout in understanding that, you probably eat cleaner, right? You feel your body better because that's what you know. Well, then typically, if you know that somebody puts ink on your skin, your liver in your body is going to try to pull that through and get rid of it because it's a foreign object. It's just the way it is.
And
If
then
you were
when we touch on that, we
holistic,
could get in. Go
I
ahead.
know, but if you were, well, I'm just trying to give an example. If you were
Yeah, good
holistic, you would
example.
probably go, there's not a chance I will ever do that. But if you didn't know all those holistic pieces, you might go, yeah, this could be okay,
Mhm.
right? The point is, people make decisions based on what they know and don't know. And it's not so much, it's typically they haven't investigated a position enough to truly know whether they should believe in it or not.
And so much of the information is not true as we started out in the first of it with some of the, even from our legislatures, and we'll go to government, but some information we become divided. And as I touch on that, if you don't mind here, Scott, in
Sure.
a world that does feel divided at times, how can authentic connections help us move toward more unity?
Well, authentic connections are not about me, they're about you. So what I mean by that is if we want to achieve authentic connections, first of all, the person has to have the desire to want to have the connection. Okay, that part's cool. But then I need to find out about you because it's really tell me about you. Tell me about your desires. What are you working to do? What are your dreams? What are your goals? What are your visions? And again, we're seeking points of common ground. Wow, it's really cool that you want to accomplish that. It's really, oh, that's awesome. I can, Well, now we start to have those pieces of common ground that we can have conversation about, we can rally around, we can learn together, we can do a variety of different things. So, when it comes to authentic connections, the first step is you have to make the decision you want them. You have to say, I like people. And it's funny because I do so much sales coaching, and people say, well, I'm an introvert. How do you handle that, Scott? Get over it. What do you mean? Well, that's the answer. You're going to be talking to people. You have to learn to like people. If you don't want to like people, choose something else. Because in order to truly be successful and happy and joyous, you're going to talk to a lot of people. You're going to have a lot of people say no. You're going to have a lot of people not take advantage of what you say. You can't take that personally. You
Exactly.
right. And so again, I mean, I think that the thing is, it- like I said before, there's 8.5 billion people on the planet. I'm pretty sure they figured out how to make more people. That is not going to stop. So therefore, you better learn how to get along. You better learn how to assimilate together. Quite frankly, it's one of the challenges we have. We take a whole bunch of people from different cultures and we're trying to force assimilate them, and you can't do it at that pace or that quantity. That's kind of common sense, right? And so again,
Yes.
we have to do what we can do to educate, to learn. I mean, I think um, we have taken our education systems and we have not done people favors by lowering the levels of competency and things like that. That's not doing anybody a favor. We should be upping it. We should be working harder to know more and to live more fully because we have greater experiences. That's where wisdom comes from, is actually the experiences themselves. I think that's what we
That's
need
real.
to add more of.
Yes, I agree with that. And there's something else that I think I saw you right. And you mentioned some being a sales lead and speaking to sales and training. And you have a saying that I believe I read that you say everyone is selling something. And I agree with that. Can you touch on that a little bit more from your perspective?
Well, the reality is everybody is selling every minute of every day. And what I work to do is first have people demystify selling. Selling is actually serving. And when you change your mindset and reframe it as that, who wouldn't want to serve more? But the reality is, the second I open up this and something comes out, I'm presenting it for your consideration. You now hear what I say, and you either go, oh, I agree with that, or you counter it and you say something else. Well, now when it comes back to me, in essence, I'm objection handling, right? You didn't like what I said, so I now have to modify my approach. The point is, every time we're selling is simply an exchange of communications back and forth, so that in fact, I offer up something for consideration. You listen to it, you send it back to me, we go back and forth. It's an exchange of value. And as I said, selling is actually serving. Identify problem, provide solution. If I had the cure to cancer and you have cancer, am I selling you the cure, or am I identifying the problem, the challenge, and simply offering a solution by educating you on what I have? See, that's why it's serving. If I take the time to understand your situation, what pain are you going through? What challenges do you have? Can I give you an idea as to how I might be able to help? And then provide a solution. That's a sales process there. And then you either say yes or no, and we go from there. The fact is, everything that we're sharing on this podcast today is a sales concept. And the audience is either going to listen to it and go, yeah, I like that. I agree with that. Or they're going to go, huh, I like part of it. Or they're going to say, no, I don't like any of it. And any part of that is fine. If we were purposefully trying to take them to a position, in essence, that's a sales presentation. What we're working to do here is offer up thoughts and concepts for consideration about unity. And some people sit there and say, well, I hate salespeople. So you hate yourself? What? I'm not in sales. And I say, make me prove it. Okay, prove it. Have you ever been on a date? You made a sale. Have you ever put a kid to bed? You made a sale. Are you married? You're better at this than you think. You were the product. So the point is, don't, why would I get all upset about that? That when you're dating, you are selling the other person on why you should be their choice. That's a sales process. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. But again,
That's so true.
we tend to frame selling as a bad thing. What I would suggest is people don't like manipulation. Manipulation is when I get you to do something for my reasons. Selling and serving is when I help you make a decision to do something for your reasons. My heart-centered selling definition is education through communication without manipulation. I'm a
Wow.
teacher. I teach people and I communicate the features, advantages, and benefits the products, goods, and services have to offer. And those features, advantages, and benefits satisfy their needs, wants, and desires. How can any of that be a bad thing when I serve them with a solution?
That's excellent. I like the way you talk about that.
Well,
It's
thank you. I
knocking
mean, that
down.
it makes it really easy to understand you're a teacher.
And that's one thing too, I think that I heard you talk about. And another item that I so agree with, but see the reading of your website and what you've done, that you emphasize that clear communication is our responsibility. I like the way you said that and talk about it. Can you share more about that for our audience?
Yeah, certainly. So I suggest everybody speaks at a fifth grade level to start out with. It's not because people can't comprehend more than that or that you can't deliver more than that. It's because of just total psychology. If I talk to you in very simple, easy to digest and absorb bites, you will do exactly that. If I try to be all authoritarian and technical and wow, I'm really important and isn't it amazing how awesome I am, and I speak over your head, you're going to sit there and nod because you'll be polite. And then when I ask you to, so would you like to get started with this? You're going to go, no, no, not really. And then I ask, well, why not? Because I obviously have done such a great presentation. And you're going to say, it's just not right for me. But you're not telling me the truth. See, the truth is, you got no clue what I was talking about, but you will never embarrass you by telling me that. So you'll just say no. I'll go, gosh, I just did the best presentation ever. I don't understand why this guy didn't take the action. And I'll blame it on you when in fact it was me because I didn't clearly explain the situation in the first place. 100% of the communication responsibility is on us. It is my job. And so, one of the things that typically, if we were in a conversation, I'd say, makes sense. In other words, every once in a while after I say something, I'll say, was that clear? Does that make sense? I'll check in with you. to make sure.
That's an awesome habit or
I'll check
exercise.
in and make sure that the clarity was there. See, if you want more technical information, you'll go, Scott, this is great, but it's pretty basic. Can I have some more technical information? To which then I give you more technical information. But if you never say that, there's no reason for me to give you technical information. And I think it's funny you hear people who are very passionate about whatever their products, goods, or services are. They're so passionate and they want you to be just as passionate about it. So they use all these big words and all these big terms and all this scientific mumbo jumbo and all this stuff. And then you go, yeah, no, I'm good. And they go, I just don't understand why they don't understand. Well, let me tell you why they don't understand. Because they don't understand. You didn't say it in a way for them to be able to understand. So again, I think that that's why, we have this opportunity. How do you create unity? By creating unity. Let's not
I,
overcomplicate this. By wanting to come together. How do you accomplish this? By having a desire to live that way.
and
To
having to understand the value of someone else in what we do on a day-to-day basis, and that we don't live alone.
Right.
We need other people, as we talked about earlier. So go ahead. You're making some great points.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's again, it's our responsibility to share things in such a way that it is very clear for all parties. And and if I'm not reading the room, if I'm not watching people's faces, if I'm not, seeing their expressions, if I'm not seeing if they roll their eyes, you know, but as soon as they do, it should be an indication that, wait a second, something's not connected here, right? We need to go back and ask.
And that's true too, because that helps in so much understanding. Like yourself, I've taught at DeVry University, I've taught at the University of Denver, and I learned so much by being an instructor in those courses
Right.
than I ever imagined. Now we have about 7.5 minutes left. If anybody has questions, please feel free to just put them in the chat. Renee will let us know that you have those questions. And Scott, one more question I want to ask you is it seems you're a believer in that, what's it called? CNEPI, CNEPI, constant,
Never ending
never-ending
personal,
personal
can I?
improvement.
Yeah. Constant, never ending personal improvement. Yeah.
How do
I
you
mean,
say it?
constant, never ending personal improvement. So, it's actually a Tony Robbins concept, can I, constant, never ending improvement. I put the personal in there
Okay.
that,
Okay.
um, for me, it is, Ray Kroc said it in 1958. When you're green, you're growing. When you're ripe, you're rotting. If you are consistently looking to learn, think about um, technology in our lifetime. We went, we talked in the call just before this. I talked about she goes, I remember the Rick McNally map
Yes.
that I used to pull out and have this big map so I could know where I go. I said, how about the AAA triptych? And she goes, oh my God, that takes me back. I forgot all about that. Now they're going to people are you're going to have to Google that one just to see what it is. But the point is, we had phones that had wires on them. They were attached to the wall or sitting on a desk. There's so many things that have changed so much in our lifetime. Well, it's not just our lifetime, it's monthly at this point. It used to be annually, now it's monthly. Now it's probably weekly. There's so many technological advancements. There's so many things that happen. If you are not learning it, again, another call I had today, a friend said, you're not going to lose your job to AI. You're going to lose your job to other people who are using AI. And and
And
I said
that's
it's a great way to say it. I said I did a video not long ago on how to AI proof yourself. The way you AI proof yourself is become more human. AI will never have empathy. It will never have compassion. It will never be able to listen and discern. It will never be in that place of humanness. I mean, it'll come close, but if you want to AI proof yourself, become more human.
what I talk about too is I build bridges.
Yeah,
AI will not be able to build that bridge. We have to do
exactly.
that ourselves, right?
Right. So again, I mean, constant, never-ending personal improvement is really about just learn something every day. How do you do that? Just have a simple conversation. Ask a question. Be curious. Gosh, why do you do your podcast on Zoom as opposed to XYZ? Why do you use XYZ as opposed to Zoom? Why do you, right? The, the we have such great ability today. We don't even think about it. I mean, I met a new friend. She'll now be a new longtime friend. There's not a doubt about it. We had never talked until an hour ago, and we had a video call. She's in Washington, D.C. I'm in Dallas. We laughed about the Commanders and the Cowboys playing. We
Mhm.
laughed about all sorts of stuff that we could give each other, you know, heck about. And and we're going to be now long, fast friends without
It's
having to get
excellent.
on an airplane to accomplish that. I mean, some of the
Because
things that we can do today are so amazing, but if you stuck your head in the sand and said, I'm not going to learn how to use a video call, what a shame.
and then
You
don't
miss out on
be
so
upset
much.
later that you don't have a job either, right? I mean, but same thing about AI, about video. It's where we're going. And if we don't grow, as you talk about, when you're green, you grow. And if you don't, you go to waste. So,
Yeah, it is.
Scott, we run down to the last minute. I only have about 2.5 minutes. I have enjoyed this so much. If our listeners could walk away from this conversation with just one short takeaway, one they could actually act on today, what would you think they could do? What do you think is best from this today, what you talked about today? What might that be?
Well, I think it'd be interesting. One thing you could immediately do is walk up to the next person you see and smile, and you're going to automatically change two lives, yours and theirs. Um, I know this to be true because after a near-death experience a number of years ago, when I first got out and went to a grocery store, the first thing I did is I smiled at somebody, and it took till the third person for them to actually say, "Why are you smiling at me?" And I said, "Because I can." And they said, "You're smiling at me because you can?" And I go, "Absolutely." The reality is, enjoy life. You don't know how long it's going to be. Everybody's got a different number of days. Nobody can tell you what it is. It's written in the book, but go out and enjoy it. Smile, make some new relationships, say hi to somebody, help somebody, hold a door open, do something nice. These are all little things. They cost absolutely nothing other than a little top of mind brain space.
And it could provide so much value that you could give to someone else. And as you mentioned, it's free, right?
It's free.
That's right. Scott, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your powerful message of authentic connection, purpose-driven listening, and transformational growth. Your insights, your experiences have not only enriched this conversation, but you've also reminded us of the importance of showing up with that clarity, that compassion, and that commitment, that ability to understand. Your presence today has been a true gift to our listeners. It's been to me. We're grateful for the encouragement, inspiration that you've brought to this journey of achieving unity and lasting success. Today's message reflects the achieving unity success formula tremendously, transforming the chaos of others into that clarity, that isolation, into inclusion, and broken trust, into intentional collaboration. We all have room to improve our teamwork. We cannot do it alone, But if we can take your authentic message and take it forward, we appreciate you being here.
Thank you for the opportunity. I've loved it.
It's awesome having you here. Scott, again and again. Remember, unity is not just an ideal. Unity is a success strategy. It is a daily choice, just like being authentic, like Scott's talking about, to lead with empathy, act with integrity, uplift others along the way. It's a service that we can give for free. As I mentioned earlier, just by saying thank you, yes or no, sir, appreciate it. It's a gain that we can have for ourselves and others, and we'll feel better about it. So if what I'm saying, sharing with you today resonates, follow that feeling. Reach out and connect with me at https://markandtrinket.com. If what Scott has touched you as it has me and has touched many, many others, connect with him. Scott Schilling message, connect with him on LinkedIn. We saw his website, scottschilling.com. Go out there, say hi to him, connect with him, see what happens. Scott, anything last thing to say before we close?
No, I'm just honored to be here, and thanks for the opportunity to share with everybody. If you got questions, reach out.
Please reach out to us. Please reach out to Scott. He'd love to hear from you. I'd be excited. So until next time, let's keep turning that chaos into connection. Let us continue achieving that unity. www.achievingunity.com. Or call us 303-362-8733, which is 303 Focus. Let's get focused in our life. Focus in making a better tomorrow. We can stay focused by turning chaos into connection as we achieve unity by harnessing that power. It is a power of encouraging, inspiring, and including others in building better businesses, better lives, and a better world. Life is what you make it. So let's make it together in unity. Follow that awesomeness that Scott's brought us today. Let's take it forward, get in touch with him. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate you being here. Thanks for your message, helping others, your time, and your commitment. Hope to see you all again next week. Till then, cheers.
Bye-bye.